All right, so we're doing a little bit different camping this week. It's raining right now, but as you can see, we're kind of under a pop-up tarp on a picnic table. And that's compliments of Dave Kiefer, who is still unpacking.
Hi, guys.
And so we're at Burr Oak Cove. If you have watched my video channel many years ago, probably 2 or 3 anyway, 3 or 4 probably, there's a thing about Dave Kiefer and I going to Burr Oak campgrounds, or Burr Oak Park, and doing a hike, and we were looking for this campground, and it was an absolute disaster. We essentially went the right way, but weren't sure we were going the right way, so we actually stopped, turned back, went back, ended up having to get a ride back to our car, and then finally ended up here, and come to find out, we were probably only about a quarter mile away. So this is kind of like a homecoming for Dave and me. And this is Kyle. He's my son-in-law, married to Lindsay. You've seen Lindsay on a couple of the backpacking trips as well. And so we thought we'd break in Kyle a little bit easier. Instead of making him carry a backpack, we'll just do some car camping. And he's actually breaking in some of the equipment that we had gotten for Chelsea just before she had cancer, and she'd never even used it. So I've got a Keldy tent out that he's going to try out tonight. I think I can at least give you a picture of it. We'll tour it later. And right behind that, you can see my tarp, which is pretty unmistakable. The only person you might think is, if you saw a tarp like that, I know John from Trailheads has one, and Willie Willie Outdoors, he has one as well. So, but as far as I know, we're the only guys that have those 3 right now. So, which I really love. So we're gonna. You'll see some more stuff later here on the thing. I've got a hot tent stove, and you saw me break it in if you checked the last video I posted. And now we've actually made it to fit a tent. It's a Quest 4 by Field and Stream. It's a 4-man. It's kind of like the old Wilderness Lodge, the 4-man tent. And in the vestibule, I've put a stove jack in there. And so we've got that stove jack in, and we've got the hot stove ready. Got all the wood primed and ready to go. All we got to do is to go down and sit in that tent, okay? And so we're sitting. It's supposed to rain most of the afternoon and evening now, but we're going to be nice and warm and toasty down in that tent. And we're actually going to cook. I'm going to make some toasted cheese sandwiches on the top of that stove. Dave actually bought a percolator, for those of you that know what that is, okay? And so we're going to try to make some coffee. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to fix breakfast, have scrambled eggs. So this is a new stuff for us. This is like really, it's really new territory. So yeah, so that's that'll get us started here. We'll get on whenever we feel like it. The Sloth Hiking team +1 today, okay? So, and you can actually see we actually have our sloths up there as well. There's mine, who is now officially named Silly Sally Sloth, and David, yours is named Sammy Sloth, right? And yep. Sammy is up there someplace. I'm not sure I'm pointing it right. Yep. So we got the mascots and everything's ready, and so we're gonna have an enjoyable time, even though it's wet. So see you in a few. Okay, so you can see we've got the Timberwolf stove down in the inside of the vestibule of this tent, and we're going to be putting the chimney in a minute. One of the things you need to do on this chimney is you need to put the spark arrestor on here. This basically keeps sparks from actually falling on your tent, okay, and coming out. And then not only that, but you should guy it up, okay, so that it doesn't tip over. If this gets windy, it does fit into the stove, but if it really starts getting really windy, it'll actually tip, and it can actually tip the stove over. So you always want to guy it out. And I have like 3 different lines here, and some of them are different lengths. So, you know, you just kind of, if I had a tree nearby, I'd just tie it to a tree, but we'll stake them down here today. So you can see my modified hot tent here, okay? And this is I forget the name. It's the old 4-man Field and Stream, and my wife and I Actually, my wife did most of the sewing here and sewed this jack in. This is a fiberglass jack. It also has Velcro around it, so I have a top that fits over that Velcro. So if I don't have the hot tent and I just want to keep the rain out, I just Velcro my top on that. That takes care of it. So we're going to set this up and we'll try to take a picture of it, and then when we get her fired up, we'll get back on. All right, so there you have it. You see my stove in there. It's in the vestibule, so it's just grass underneath of there. We'll probably dig a little bit of that out so none of that even catches on fire, but it probably won't anyways. It might kill it, but it probably won't catch on fire. And then we've got it all the way up. We haven't guided it out yet, but we'll be doing that shortly. Yeah, this is gonna be nice, especially next winter.
Split your time.
Yeah.
Say fall asleep in here, and then middle of the night have a little headlamp. Walk on
The
over
thing
there.
I'm wondering is if, like, if we were, Kyle or I were on our sleeping bags down here, if we would feel the heat like our heads feel it up
Not,
here.
and I know you wouldn't.
Yeah.
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 Now I have a little fan, and I didn't bring it with me because I couldn't find it.
That could help push
It's
the
hid
heat
someplace
around a
in
little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
place, or,
Some bin
but
somewhere.
I could hang that from right there,
Oh.
and that would push that heat down. So if I was on my sleeping bag and my sleeping pad, I
would
could
feel,
do that.
I think it would feel nice here if you throw a sleeping bag down, and I don't know.
Yeah, even without.
I feel like you still would feel like it
Yeah,
would be nice.
yeah.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah, this is great. So you've been watching videos of these things for a couple years now, and
Yeah. Especially this summer,
Okay.
when I knew we were going to get a stimulus check, I checked them all out again. So we got some coffee perking on the hot stove, and we're gonna do some grilled cheese sandwiches. Don't have all the butter on them yet. I'm waiting until the other guys get back in the tent here, and then we'll put them on. The stove is really making it nice and warm in this tent. I'm gonna take my watch off and hang it up here. Right now my watch has my body temperature on it, but once I hang it up here, I think it's gonna be as warm as my body temperature, maybe even a little bit more. Okay, just wanted to show you my tent. This is the one that we had bought for Chelsea just when she was diagnosed with cancer, and so she never actually got to use this. So last night was our first night using it. It's a Kelty Tempest 2. They don't even make them anymore, and I don't even think you can get them anymore, but they're similar to the tents that we use. It's got a rain fly. You can see it's just got one door, but there's the inside. Got a little pocket there to put some stuff in. Has a D-shaped door, so it goes to the side instead of just falling down the floor where you're walking on it. And the rain fly is here. We'll take the rain fly off, and then we'll show you how it clips on with a post. Okay, so this is the Kelty tent without the rain fly, and you can see it's mesh. If you have nice weather and nice nights, you can just sleep here and look at the stars. It's great. But the thing I like about this tent is it basically has clips here that you can just clip on. It doesn't have a sleeve. I highly recommend that if you get a small tent like this, you don't get tents where you have to put those poles through a sleeve. You have to kind of do that. It's kind of hard to do it by yourself, and it just makes it a real hard thing. Here, you just pop these off like that, and you can just take them out. And they have two here in the middle to go over both of the tabs here. There we go, sorry. So really easy, and if you get a small tent like this, that's the kind of thing you should look for if you're going to use one of these like this. I can't lift it up and move it around because we actually staked it down last night, but it's a freestanding, so you can move this around if if you get laying down on something and you realize you're laying on a rock, before you stake it down there, you can just lift the whole tent up and move it someplace. So that's a nice quality for it. All right, so this is Kyle's first backpacking trip with me. Not backpacking, it's car camping. So what do you think?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. We braved the elements. We ate some good food. We were dry. It was good. Had some good talks.
We had some great rain here. I mean, it was just steady for how many hours, guys? Probably 6-7 hours. Yeah. And we didn't get wet at all, hardly. No. Yeah. So
thanks to all the fancy equipment here.
Yeah. All right. So we're doing a little camping here, and I've got my tarp. And I have what I call my tarp gaiter, or tarp sleeve. It's a mesh sleeve. I got it from, I think, Hammock Gear, I think for about 20 bucks. And notice it, winds up real easy and everything. And so what I do now, I'm getting ready to use it. So I just pull this back and everything comes down. So that's how it works. I'll show you later when I get it all done. All right, so several of you have asked about this little thing on my tarp. This is a gaiter, or snakeskin for the tarp, okay? And what it does is it makes it easier to store your tarp and easier to open it up and close it. In the old days, before I had this, I had to take the tarp off and then I'd have to fold it. So then it drops on the ground and you're using it. And it just was inconvenient. And then if it when you set it up, if it's a nice sky out, well, you say, well, I'm not going to really set it up. But then if it rains, then what happens is now you got to get out and put your tarp up. So these are made to help do this and to just make it easy to store. And this is a mesh thing, and all I'm going to do is just pull this along. And when I pull this along, guess I'll leave that one in there since I've been using it. And when you get to the strings and stuff, you kind of have to be a little careful, otherwise you'll snag it. But essentially, it just keeps going on over there until it eventually gets all the way to the end. And I think I'm just about out of string over there. It goes right to the end of this. And I usually just kind of tuck these last two in. Let me see if I've got enough room here. Yeah, there's the end right there. So I don't want to go any farther with it. So I'll just tuck these ends right in here like this. And now all I have to do is just unhook my tarp. Now I have some Dutchware bling here, okay? And so these really make it easy. I just undo that. There we go. And then, boom, just like that, it's down. And then what I always do is I always tie up these ends so that then on the next time I know exactly where the end is, and it just sticks outside this, or sometimes I actually stuff it inside the snake or the gaiter, whatever you want to call it. Now my gaiter is a mesh one, so this tarp is kind of wet because it's rained all night, and but I can actually do this and just leave it lay out, and a lot of it will dry just because it can get air circulating around it. Now when I get home, I'll actually take it out probably and actually, work it so that use a fan on it or something. Here, I will try this one over here. Maybe it'll come a little easier. Yeah. All right, so I wanted to just give a shout out to John Rummel from Trailheads. He made this tarp for me, and it's the Aurora tarp. And I just get all kinds of comments about this tarp. Anytime I put it on the internet, somebody always comments, oh, wow, that's a cool tarp. Oh, isn't that sweet, And John made this at Trailheads,
if you want a really good tarp, he has lots of different choices. He also has other stuff. Just go to Trailheads, just type in Trailheads on Google, and you can get to their site, and it's just a great place. Him and his wife Karen will really take care of people. They really care about their product. They make a good product, and they also do other stuff. Like they belong to groups that go and they kind of sponsor some things where they go and clean up trash out of creeks. They've actually taken tires and stuff out of creeks and stuff. So that they're really interested in the environment. They're not just in this to make money. They really care about the environment, and they want a good camping experience, things like that. So if you want a good tarp, this is a good tarp. If just walk around here just a second, you know, it's big enough that I've got these crossed down here, and notice I can just, this is like a door, and so I can make a door like this, and there's hardly any air that gets in here. I don't even have anything up here because I don't even worry about it. The tarps, I provided the guidelines for them, and I had these special little things to tighten and loosen them, and those I've done a video on that, so if you just check my channel, you can see how those work and how you put them on. I think they're some of the best adjusters that there are. Yeah, if you want to look inside, on this end, kind of my door end, okay, and I have a little carabiner that I could stake these down, but then you got to pull the stakes out to get out. But I just have a little carabiner right now that I just hold this kind of in place, and that works for me, unless it was really storming. If it was really storming, then I would put some other things up here as well, but I haven't had a problem. You can see inside here I have a bare butt hammock, and I have an Econ incubator. It's a 10 degree incubator under quilt, and I have a Paria. Over quilt. It's a 15 degree, and it really keeps me warm. Like last night it was 45, and I slept in a sweater and my pants, and that's all I had, and I stayed plenty warm. I also have this nice little portable CPAP that I can use now, so I'm actually sleeping much better, and I just hang it from my Ridgeline. And here's one of those hammock gear Ridgeline bags, and I've got an extra buff, and I've got Kleenex, and I had a Costco quilt in case I needed it. I have a towel to dry off, and you know, if I get sweaty. So, and that's really nice. It's like 20 bucks or something like that. So yeah, so that's the name of this tune. This tarp is really neat. I really highly recommend it. He has some other really nice designs too. So, all right, so we are done with our weekend trip this weekend, and we're getting ready to go for our obligatory fast food hamburger and or other meal, whatever we decide to get. But Dave and I decided we'd come down here. If you go back and look at some of my videos, you'll find 2 videos on our Burr Oak trip, which was the first backpacking trip I took Dave on, and after it was such a fiasco that I thought he would never backpack with me again. It was unbelievable. Anyways, we ended up here. We had to turn around and backtrack about 1.5 miles, and then what we did is we ended up here and we hitched a ride from 2 nice ladies back down to our car, and then we were trying to walk to Burr Oak Cove, but we thought we were on the wrong trail, and so we backtracked. Long and short was we ended up going to Burr Oak Cove in the car, and we realized that we were only about 1/4 mile away. So
just kept walking.
If we just kept walking, yeah. So anyways, that's the name of that tune. So beautiful day here. It's gotten nice and sunny, so we're gonna have a nice trip home. What do you think, Dave?
It is a sunny day after a rainy afternoon yesterday, and we survived. We enjoyed it. So we're just getting hungry.
Yeah. We were going to make some eggs on the stove this morning, but we decided then we'd have to let the stove burn down and cool off a little bit before he came, and we were actually hungrier for more than just eggs. So we'll save those for another trip. So, all right. Well, remember what we say: if we can do it, you can do it too. And so hope to see you guys out on the trail. Okay, we've gotten Burger King in our bellies. We're heading back to Columbus. A successful trek, I would say.
Absolutely.
All right.
We're good.
See you guys on the trail.